Hello and welcome everyone to the Verizon Racing League's broadcast, the Amp Energy Cup Series from Sonoma, California for the running of the Toyota SaveMart 30. About to get the command to fire engines, we'll get this race underway.
Drivers, start your engines.
On the pole for tonight's race is Paul Menard, over the number 21, Wood Brothers Ford. Alongside of him will be Alex Bowman, the 88. Third place is Eric Almirola. Fourth, another Ford driver, David Reagan. Fifth place is Denny Hamlin. Sixth is Zero Wallace Jr. Seventh place, Michael McDowell. And eighth place, Martin Truex Jr. Seems like the front row motorsports cars are pretty fast so far here in Sonoma. Ninth place is Joey Logano, and then rounding out the top 10 is Gray Galding. Great qualifying effort for that team. Kevin Harvick qualified in 11th place. 12th, DJ Kennington. Ryan Newman's in 13th, and 14th is Kyle Busch. Casey Kane is 15th. J.J. Yaley 16th. 17th, Chase Elliott. 18th, A.J. Allmendinger. 19th, Jeffrey Earnhardt. And 20th, Joey Gase. 21st is Kurt Busch. 22nd, Derek Cope. 23rd is J.A. McMurray. And 24th, Matt DiBenedetto. 25th is Ryan Blaney. 26th, Eric Jones. 27th, Ty Dillon. 28th, Matt Kenseth. 29th place is Daniel Hemrick. 30th, Brad Keselowski. That's Timmy Hill, Chris Buescher, Kyle Larson, Daniel Suarez, Clint Boyer, Jimmy Johnson, Corey LaJoie, Austin Dillon, William Byron, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Still a bit early to be thinking about playoffs, but once again, a win would lock you in, so the driver's not doing well in the point standings. This win would definitely help them. This is the first road course of the season. It's been interesting to see how that turns out. So the outside lane goes a little bit wide on that pace lap, on the pace laps here, as getting ready to get this race underway here in Sonoma. It'll be a 15-lap race here tonight under the lights at Sonoma for the first time in the track's history. Once again, into the grass. Not quite sure what that's about. Approach the restart. Just a few more corners to go. We'll look at the field all bunched up together here. Getting ready to get this race underway. Austin Dillon, winner of the last race at Bristol, qualified 38th, so not a very good qualifying effort for that team. A few other notables out of qualifying: Kyle Larson, 33rd. This whole season has just been a mess for that team so far. They're just limping along at this point. But yeah, great qualifying effort here for the front row motorsports teammates. So now the field rounds turn 11. They're getting ready to get this race underway. 21 and 88 from the front row. Start these 15 laps here at Sonoma under the lights. Here they come to the start-finish line. There they go. Green flag is out. We're racing in Sonoma. Whoa! Oh, Bubba Wallace to the grass. Huge crash. They're still off the racetrack. I believe that one of those cars, Alex Bowman, heavily damaged. Martin Truex Jr. up to second place. Paul Menard leads the field around. He goes very wide through that section of the racetrack. Martin Truex does the same thing. Everyone. Very strange. A lot of cars involved. Kurt Busch, heavy damage. Austin Dillon. Clint Boyer. Oh, they're still wrecking up here. Ryan Blaney off the racetrack into the barrels. Oh, the barrel for the tires, excuse me there. Into the tire barriers. Ryan Newman makes the corner. And that was easily more than half the field. Oh, Jimmy Johnson! Still hitting hard here. Lots of crashing. The caution flag is out. They're still wrecking. Daniel Hemrick, Eric Almirola again in this one. Wallace qualified so well for this race. Kurt Busch taking it straight to the garage area. We have a lot of cars that seem to have avoided this crash. Not quite as many, more than I thought had avoided it, but on lap one, not really sure. There might have been some oil or something, but everybody's off track almost the entire first lap here. I mean, I believe I just saw someone flip. Let's catch up with Alex Bowman here. Take it slow-mo. So Bowman a little wide. David Reagan even into the fence. The drivers on the left side of the racetrack seem pretty fine, but Bowman just, yeah, he just goes straight, it seems like, off into the grass. Almost hits the tire barrier. Eric Almirola gets clipped by Hamlin, but then right here, the 43 just annihilates the 10 as well as the 11. 38 comes sliding across the racetrack. Bowman's already in the tire barrier. They're still wrecking. More drivers up the hill involved. I mean, like, if you just look at these, everybody's going everywhere. I think the 96 flipped. Yes, the 96 is the car DJ Kennington on his lid. Multiple times rolling over. So it looks like there might have been some oil right there. He comes over and hits Casey Kane and then hard into the barrel. Well, the tires there. Rolls over multiple times. Kurt Busch's car is absolutely destroyed. Kennington's car finally settles back down on the racetrack. I mean, you can see there is an absolute mess here. It's the 99 to Derek Coate. Just getting beaten around. Jamie McMurray's around. Look at poor Chase Elliott. I mean, a lot of drivers' days ended. I mean, not even before they got up to the first real corners of this racetrack. I mean, look at this stack up. And I mean, it's not over yet. Let's take a look on board some of the other drivers here that are still going. Look at Daniel Suarez. We'll go through a little bit faster. But then somehow Ty Dillon gets off racetrack. I don't even know what happened to him here. I mean, he just right off the track. Straight off the racing surface. Man, what is going on with these drivers? Oh, Clint Boyer, what the heck happened to him? I think he's just driving and then you can see him just slide right in there. Down in this corner, Ryan Blaney and Ryan Newman get into it. I think this one had more to do with the driving though. Also, there were cars that hit this wall up here. This one has more to do. Oh, so a ton of drivers spun out heading through this area of the racetrack. Ryan Blaney over the curb. That time he just ran into. I mean, seems like somebody might have been laying oil down. That's the only explanation I can think of for wrecks like this. And both the 12 and the 31 just drive right off the racetrack for no reason at all. The 72 is in it. Ryan Newman has more problems. I mean, they're still wrecking up through this section of racetrack. Jimmy Johnson just rejoins the racetrack after going for a venture in the grass. And then we have more problems. David Reagan into the fence. Ty Dillon's over there. I don't even know what the heck happened to Jimmy Johnson, but he's in it. Let's go back and look at this. I mean, his car is destroyed. And I mean, yeah, it was beaten up pretty badly here, but he's not. The engine isn't completely destroyed. So well, absolutely annihilates the 00. I mean, I hope they're okay. That was a very hard hit. And Joey Gase was pretty much stopped. Rejoins the racetrack right in front of Carl Long. I don't know how Matt Kenseth missed that, but then Jimmy Johnson just comes sliding in there. I mean, that was just 100-0 for Jimmy Johnson. Maybe not at exactly 100 mile an hour, but I mean, Daniel Hemrick just completely blows that corner. They're still wrecking when they get to this part of the racetrack. I mean, I don't even know if the field's okay under caution, but yeah, they're not. I mean, they just had a wreck under yellow right here. Menard checks up, gets run into by Martin Truex Jr. The accordion effect with the rest of the field doesn't really continue very far from that, but I mean, we have a lot of crashes here on just the first lap of the race. We'll catch back up with the field as they get set to go back green flag racing here from Sonoma. Still a long way to go in this race. You can see there is damage to the 21, so he has made contact. Well, he did make contact with something on the first lap. Let's look at this right here. How many drivers out of the race? That's a lot of cars. Casey Kane's still on the racetrack. We'll look at the lineup. Paul Menard still maintaining up front. Martin Truex made it through that first lap calamity, as well as Greg Gaulding. Jeffrey Earnhardt up into 4th place. Michael McDowell still up there in 5th, while his teammate David Reagan had some severe troubles. Mother mentions, Kyle Larson all the way up from the back into 11th place. Derek Cope spun out there, made some contact. He's still in this race. We saw Ryan Newman, Timmy Hill involved in multiple incidents. Matt Kenseth involved in some incidents, had to avoid a lot of them as well. Darrell Wallace Jr. is in there. Ryan Blaney's still in the race. Austin Dillon's still in the race. Casey Kane has brought his car to the garage area for now. But we still have a long train of cars. We'll go back and look at some of the damage. I doubt the damage for these front few cars is going to really hurt them any. Not at a road course, at least. Eric Jones has a little bit more damage than most of these cars, but I mean, look at the 99. I mean, his car is not that beat up at all after all that contact. Same for Brad Keselowski. I mean, the back of the car is a little messed up. He's not going to have as much downforce as he probably wants. But once again, at a road course like this, it doesn't really matter as much. Matt Kenseth, same thing. Honestly, Carl Long, I mean, he has more damage to the front end, but that's even, that's not even as bad as it is for the guys with damage to the rear end of the race car. Newman's fine. Hamlin, Boyer's destroyed, and then this is where you get back to the drivers. Like, look at Austin Dillon. Doesn't even have a hood in the on the race car. His car is utterly destroyed. I don't know if they could even keep that thing on the racetrack until the end of the race, but still, I mean, these were some brutal, brutal crashes for a lot of drivers here. Hope everyone's all right. We'll get this race back underway. 11 laps will be left in this race. And I imagine that will not be the last caution. With as crazy as that first lap was, I'm not really sure what happened. I mean, somebody had to have put down some oil, or there had to have been something down there in turns 1 and 2 that really caused that chaos. The rest of it, people just overdriving, or cars being that were broken having some issues. But now Truex is getting shuffled out. They're pushing each other through that corner. Not sure if NASCAR is going to like that. Now it looks like they're starting to get back in line. Kevin Harvick 3 wide there for a bit. As Paul Menard gets ready to restart this race. Pretty jumbled up back in the pack still. Green flag back in the air though. Truex all over the bumper of Paul Menard as they head into turn 1. We'll see what happens. Oh, there they go. They're wrecking again. Truex right over the racetrack and into the wall. Huge crash in turn one. I think I saw almost half the field, or at least half of what's left of it, go right in the fence. We'll stay on the leader this time as Paul Menard has stayed out of the trouble so far. 23 right behind him. I knew that wouldn't be the end of the chaos. Michael McDowell through the grass. Paul Menard through the grass. Multiple times through the grass. Oh, he's off the racetrack. And he takes Greg Alding with him. Greg Alding's still in it. He's got Jeffrey Earnhardt to contend with, though. Never mind, he's off the track, into the tires. Oh, here comes the 99. Carl Long into the tires as well. Menard will lead them back to the caution flag. But this is absolute chaos. A lot of cars just utterly destroyed. Let's go back and look at what happened. Once again, not really sure. I mean, if there was oil out on the racetrack, NASCAR definitely did not go through and clean it up because, I mean, there had to have been some sort of problem. You can see everything is fine here. They head down into turn one, put some slow-mo on, and Truex's car does exactly what happened to Bowman. I mean, just right off the racetrack, goes straight back over to the other side. But then Kevin Harvick, Joey Logano, and Kyle Larson all off the racetrack as well. Timmy Hill and Kyle Busch are going to get T-boned. Sent off the racetrack. Here comes AJ Allmendinger. They all just go sliding. I mean, Joey Logano probably got the least amount of damage out of that from everybody besides maybe Eric Jones. I believe the 47 actually did manage to get it stopped, but then they were wrecking again all the way back here. I'm not even sure what happened. Yeah, right here. You can see it, the 37 and the 24 get into it. There's pushers around. Look for any more contact. Oh, there was more contact right there, I believe. We just saw some more drivers in the fencing up here. Yep. The one of Jamie McBurry, I mean, I think this one's just overdriving. Yeah, he's just off the racetrack and tries to rejoin right behind Brad Keselowski. Both drivers hard impacts. Keselowski, oh, Blaney just right across the racetrack. Once again, not really sure what was going on there. Then we saw more contact up here, so Blaney drives Galding off the racetrack. I believe Greg Galding will be able to continue out of this mess, although he does get in the fence a few times. Here comes Derek Cope. Drives right into the fence. He'll keep it going. Carl Long contact, McKenzie. Driver that is bombing into this corner. Jones into the fence. Don't think we had any more crashes because of that, but that was just complete insanity. And we could see a mistake out of Paul Menard. It's not a guarantee that Menard won't have any issues in this race. We're seeing almost every car in this field having more problems. We'll take a reviewed look at the lineup here. More cars out of the race. Harvick, Truex restarted second. He's out. Look at all the rest of these drivers that are out of the race. Menard's still leading. Jeffrey Earnhardt. Here are some names you usually don't hear in the top 5. Paul Menard in first place, but and look at the rest of the drivers. Jeffrey Earnhardt, Greg Galding, Derek Cope, Michael McDowell. I mean, the chaos that has been produced by just whatever is down in turn one is causing the drivers, if they go to the right, to just drive right off the racetrack. You know, whatever that is, it's really, really giving these guys problems, and it's allowing the guys that are lesser known, you know, worse equipment to be able to ride up front. Matt Kenseth up to 6th place. He's been involved in almost every incident so far in this race. He's got damage to his race car. Ryan Newman as well. Austin Dillon in 9th. A great run for him. Great recovery for him. Kyle Larson's dropped back to 15th. David Reagan in 16th. Ryan Blaney and Brad Keselowski still in this race, but they're pretty much not going to win this thing. We have about, what, 5 cars that don't have much damage. I mean, if you look at the top 5, they're pretty much okay. Matt Kenseth is where things start getting iffy. You can see the damage to the rear end of his race car. Is that the 72 that just blew up? It is. The 72 has just lost an engine. Corey LaJoie just lost an engine right there. And this should mean that his race is over. Not sure what Timmy Hill is doing back here, but we'll take some more looks at the cars behind. Ryan Newman's car actually isn't demolished yet. Denny Hamlin, same thing for him. Austin Dillon, I don't know what they did to get that car back on the racetrack. They just basically took everything off the race car, although the rear end of the race car seems pretty much fine. It's the hood. Boyer's destroyed. Kyle Busch actually isn't that bad off. Same for the 20 and the 47, but Kyle Larson's car is destroyed. While the 72 of Corey LaJoie takes his car to the garage area, we're going to get this race back green flag racing. 8 laps will be left when we get this race back underway. That'll mean we can afford one more caution and still be able to go back green flag racing, but I doubt that this race will end under green with how much chaos has been happening so far. As Paul Menard leads the field back into the restart box. Start accelerating here. Green flag back in the air. Here they go. Anyone to the right? Yep, here they go. Hamlin hard into Ryan Newman, and they're wrecking again. And that's Greg Golding off the racetrack. Over into Matt Kenseth, Derek Cope, and Matt Kenseth racing hard. Derek Cope over the curbs. Oh, Cope off the racetrack. We'll keep it going. Oh, over the racetrack and into Austin Dillon he goes. Dillon back up the racetrack, keeps it going somehow. Keselowski over the curbs, almost in 3. I don't know what's going on behind these guys. I think somebody DNF'd. Oh, Eric Jones over the curbs again. Keselowski sent back across the racetrack. Almost 3 wide into the hairpin. We'll bring it back to the caution flag. And Jeffrey Earnhardt has gotten around Paul Menard. Let's see how he did it. While we were watching the rest of the field have problems off of turn 1, Jeffrey Earnhardt capitalizes as Menard goes wide. Cuts down, gets underneath the 21. Menard drives it wide, so that's why the 23 was off the racetrack there. See Derek Cook dirt track sliding behind him, and then Paul Menard just trying to play catch up for the rest of this lap. I think I saw Menard have more issues. Oh, both he and Jeffrey Earnhardt way off the racetrack. Menard stays in the grass a little longer. And then this happens. Menard gets wide. Both drivers into the wall, but really get sent sideways, as well as Matt Kenseth. Jeff Earnhardt gets away. So, once again, let's go back and take a look at what transpired here with Denny Hamlin. So at the beginning of the lap, we can see drivers already off the track. Right there, just, I mean, maybe they're over driving it or something, but it seemed like to me that Hamlin just had an issue, comes right back across. You can see Kyle Busch gets collected again. Ryan Nemick gets hit twice. Busch gets hit twice. Not many cars actually, you know, off the racetrack. Kyle Larson gets through. And for the rest of the field, I mean, you've pretty much had to have the car slowed down. Let's look at what happened here with the driver, the number 23, Greg Alding. Almost into Derek Cope. Speaking of Derek Cope, we'll look at what happened to him in a second. Goes wide in this section of the racetrack, gets his car back on the pavement here, and here on comes Austin Dillon, the 99, just way over the curbs. Cope's able to save it. Austin Dillon does too, but oh, into the wall, and his day is over. Tough break for that team. They were having a really good run. Get you back up on the field, and we'll give you an updated running order after that crash to see who's still left in this race. Right now, Jeff Earnhardt leads the field. Take a look at some other names. Kyle Larson somehow managed to get up to 6th. Austin Dillon, we saw him spin around there. He's in 7th place. Only about 18 cars still on the racetrack. Michael McDowell ended up retiring from the race after the great runs for the great qualifying efforts for the 38 and 34 teammates. Both of them end up in the garage area. Oh, David Reagan's still on the racetrack, but you know that could very easily change. Joe Logano has managed to sneak into the top 10. Pretty good run for him so far. Brad Keselowski in 15th place. I haven't really talked much about him, but he's been involved in pretty much all of these wrecks. A lot of damage to that 2 car. Do not believe he'll be able to do much more than finish him. Just try to finish this race and salvage as many points as he can. But, you know, you never know. We see guys like Matt Kenseth, who I said earlier looks pretty destroyed without the rear end downforce. You know, it's really going to hurt the drivability of that race car. But he's right now running in 3rd place, so you never know. Austin Dillon in 7th, so a lot of damaged race cars up at the front. But right now, the top 2 at least are the 2 guys that perhaps are the most undamaged cars on the track, and perhaps the only 2 that have not been involved in a crash so far in this race, or at least involved in the skirmish like we saw the 23 have an issue there, getting into the grass and almost causing a wreck. So we're getting ready to go back green flag racing once again from Sonoma. This will be the final restart. If another caution comes out, which I believe, well, actually, I believe that they can have one more caution after that. So we're getting set for only one more caution being available here. So it's going to be pretty crazy. I doubt with the how insane the other 2, the restart and the start, other 2 nights the field bunched together, you know how crazy that was. I don't think this will be any less crazy. Back on the gas, up through the gears, green flag back in the air in Sonoma. And a big jump already for Jeffrey Earnhardt. And Dylan's off the track. Plows right into Kyle Larson. Big crash. Caution is back out. 3 drivers up front. Oh, Kenseth off the racetrack. I imagine that this lap won't have, we'll go problem-free for the top 2 here. Did Jeff Earnhardt make a mistake, or will Paul Menard make a mistake? Both drivers going to go way wide. Menard going further off than Jeffrey Earnhardt once again. Oh, Menard missed the corner by a mile. Oh, hard into that outside wall. He'll gather back up. Matt Kenseth hit it hard as well. And the 36 car has taken it to pit road. Austin Dillon in more trouble. Joey Logano. Don't think he intended to pit right there, but ended up running into the pits. A lot of cars actually to pit road there. Well, let's go back and look at what happened once again. I have a feeling it was an incident by drivers in turn 1. I think that was the final straw for the 42 car. Yes, it was. And he was restarting in 6th too. Though I believe they saw this coming. Austin Dillon, the only car to the right. Just Kyle Busch, you could see him off on the right too. But the only one out of the front drivers that's on the right comes up, just annihilates the 42. Kyle Busch and Logano take out the 20. Then you have these drivers from behind that were all involved in this as well, or at least they didn't hit the wall, but still damage. What's amazing is that the 32 ends up getting through that. You see William firing over, speeds up, trying not to get hit by Austin Dillon, and ends up getting hit by ends up hitting Greg Alding. So from 15th on the restart comes Matt DiBenedetto, the 32. But right here, just drives straight into pit road. Gets it slowed down a little bit late, but I do believe he got it down to the speed limit there. Was that not a caution flag? No, it was not. NASCAR did not throw the caution for that wreck. Would have assumed they would have thrown the yellow flag for that. So we'll catch back up with the leader, Jeffrey Earnhardt, who right now is well in front of Paul Menard. Who's struggling just to make it around the racetrack. Oh, and Menard, as we were speeding up to catch up with the leader, Paul Menard. Only 2 drivers had stayed out of the wreck so thus far this race, and oh, that wasn't even really his fault. Darrell Wallace Jr. coming out of the pits. Drives straight into the pit wall, destroys his engine. Menard off the racetrack. Oh man. Paul Menard off the ground. Let's go on board the visor cam. Paul Menard will watch this hard hit. Look at this, 69 to a dead stop. I mean, that's a hard lick. we'll take another look at this. Slow-mo this time. Darrell Wallace Jr., I mean, there was barely any reaction time from Menard. I mean, he can see Bubba coming off pit road, and then he hits, is that a tire? I believe that was a tire that just flew out of the 43. Maybe it's right front or some big piece of that race car fell out, and then over the grass, and then right here, 90 mile an hour into the air, plants the splitter hard on the racetrack, off the ground again, and that might be one of the hardest hits I've seen in a while from anyone. I mean, you can just see how far off the ground Menard was right there. And then that lick into the wall. Matt Kenseth makes it through. Oh, and there's a skirmish coming off pit road. Most likely something to do with Darrell Wallace Jr. Oh, Denny Hamlin hit the pit wall here. Very similar to what happened with Darrell Wallace Jr. We'll check for other problems later, but for now, Jeffrey Earnhardt. Stop it here, 2 laps to go, and yep, there was a caution flag thrown there. I believe that will end the race. Jeffrey Earnhardt will get first place. I don't know how, but Clint Bowyer comes out of nowhere to pick up a second place. Third is Greg Galding. Fourth is Paul Menard, who is on pit road. I doubt that his position will be maintained with that contact. We'll speed up so we can see if they will reset the running order here. So we can see just where the rest of the cars are on the racetrack. Well, they will not be restarting this race. Jeffrey Earnhardt will be your winner here in Sonoma. Clint Bowyer ended up pulling second out. I don't know how he got that position. Great effort by that team, staying in all race long. Greg Galding third. Austin Dillon backs up his win with a great recovery for fourth place. Fifth, Joey Logano silently in the top 5. Paul Menard, once again, don't know if his position will be maintained, but for now, unofficially, he will finish 6th place. 7th, Eric Jones, a lap down, as well as Kyle Busch and Ryan Blaney. Matt Kenseth out of the race for some sort of problem. Let's see what happened to him really quickly. Kenseth had some sort of a problem. Did we check for problems later? Well, we have one here. Matt Kenseth. Oh. Big problem for Matt. Well, coming back around to the start-finish line, and Jeffrey Earnhardt will earn himself a spot in the playoffs. If he can stay in the top 30 in points, that is. What a great effort by this race team. Staying it all day. Started close to the front. Stayed up there most of the race. I believe he was the only driver not to be involved in an incident so far this race. Looks like for now, yep, Paul Menard's position will stand. 6th place. He will finish ahead of all those cars that are a lap down. Especially since I believe Menard's stall, it's right up here. So yeah, Menard, his pit stall just ahead of the start-finish line, meaning that the cars a lap down cannot pass him. Paul Menard, 6th place. Well, Jeffrey Earnhardt, in a crazy race here at Sonoma, will win the Toyota SaveMart 30. Well, it looks like Paul Menard there. They ended up actually finishing 9th. Let's look at your top 10. Look at that. Eric Jones up 6th, 7th. It's Kyle Busch 8th. Ryan Blaney 9th. Paul Menard and William Byron 10th. There's your point standings. Greg Alding leads by a lot over Mark Schleck Jr., but Jeffrey Earnhardt close, taking that 2nd place position away. Take a look at your standings right here. 6 races, 6 different winners. Greg Alding, Martin Truex Jr., and Jeff Earnhardt, all winners, all in the top 3 in points. And Jimmy Johnson, 15th, Austin Dillon, 16th, and Jay McMurray, 26th, who was in jeopardy of falling outside the top 30. That would avoid his playoff position due to his win. Look at Derek Cope, 7th in points. That's a great position for him. So 16th in points would be around Austin Dillon. Let's see, 6th. Ryan Newman is the cut driver here by just 4 points over Alex Bowman, and Matt Kenseth pretty close as well. Actually, I believe Matt Kenseth would be in right now if he had not had that very late crash while coming back to the caution. But a few drivers who need to get it together. I mean, like, look at Paul Menard. He needed a good run and just didn't quite get what they needed for that team. They were going to be up front. I mean, they've led 33% of the races, or at least led some laps. But a lot of problems for Paul Menard so far in this season. Another driver who has had problems this season, Kyle Larson. 9th in the point standings right now. Great job for them. David Reagan, while they didn't get the finish they would have liked, 8th place in the point standings. Looking pretty good to make the playoffs. Still have a long way to go. The next race of the season for the Energy Cup Series will be the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 90 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. This has been the Verizon Racing League's broadcast of the Energy Cup Series. We'll see you next time.